everyone, and welcome to another deep dive. Today, we're talking about email marketing, but not the usual stuff.
Right, we're going beyond the basics.
Exactly. We're talking about those metrics, those numbers that we obsess over. Specifically, we're going beyond the open rate.
Yeah, the open rate, it's what everyone wants to talk about, but it doesn't tell the whole story.
That's what's so interesting. We're diving into an article from Flowworks today, and they really break down some powerful metrics that go way beyond that initial open.
And some of this stuff might surprise you. There's a lot more to successful email marketing than just getting someone to open your email.
So true. I mean, an open is great, but what happens next? What are people actually doing once they're inside that email? That's what we really want to know.
Exactly. So let's dive into some of these other metrics, starting with what Flowworks calls the top-line response rate. Basically, it's any action a person takes during a campaign. Clicks, downloads, replies, anything.
So it's not just about whether they clicked on that one link you wanted them to.
No. It's about any engagement at all. And get this, a good top-line response rate can be as high as 52%.
52%? Wow, I had no idea it could be that high.
Yeah, it's a strong indicator that your subject line is working and that you're grabbing attention right from the start.
Okay, that makes sense. But what about actual responses? You know, those precious replies that land in your inbox.
Right, so that's where the classic email response rate comes in. It's a measure of, like, direct engagement. And a good one sits around 2.9%.
2.9%? That almost seems low after hearing about that 52%.
It's all relative, right? It might seem small, but it's a vital sign that your content is resonating on a deeper level, which is what you want.
I see what you mean. It's like anyone can open an email, but taking the time to actually respond. That shows a whole other level of interest.
Exactly. And speaking of interest, let's talk about click-through rate, or CTR. This one tells you how many people are clicking on those links you've embedded in your emails.
So getting them to actually take that next step.
Yes. And a well-crafted, personalized email can actually see a 14% higher click-through rate on average.
Wow, 14%. That's a pretty significant jump. No wonder personalization is such a hot topic these days.
It makes a huge difference. People are just more likely to click if they feel like you're speaking directly to them and their needs.
It's like you said earlier, it's about going beyond that initial open and creating content that truly resonates.
Absolutely. But, of course, not every email is going to be a home run.
True, and I guess that's where those maybe less exciting metrics come into play, like bounce rate.
Yeah, bounce rate. Basically, it's when your email bounces back to you, like, nope, can't deliver this.
Like a bad check.
Exactly. And a high bounce rate, anything over 2.8%, could mean your emails are being flagged as spam. And that is not good.
Definitely not the kind of attention you want. And then there's that other one, the opt-out rate, which honestly kind of stings, even if it's a normal part of email marketing.
It's true. Nobody likes to see people unsubscribe. But here's the thing. A small opt-out rate, like below 1.1%, can actually be a positive sign.
Wait, really? I would have thought any unsubscribe is bad.
Not necessarily. A low opt-out rate could mean you're attracting the right people. People who actually want to hear from you. They're engaged, interested, less likely to jump ship.
So it's kind of like filtering out the noise to focus on those valuable connections.
Exactly. But here's where Flowworks gets really interesting. They start talking about going beyond the numbers and looking at sentiment analysis.
Sentiment analysis. So we're talking about like understanding how people actually feel about our emails, not just whether they opened them or clicked a link.
Yeah, exactly. Sentiment analysis is about understanding the emotions, the attitudes behind the opens and the clicks. It really digs into the why behind those numbers.
That's so interesting, especially now with all the privacy changes. Those traditional metrics aren't always as reliable as they used to be.
Definitely. Think about it. A 40% open rate might sound amazing at first.
Right, like you're crushing it.
Exactly. But then you dig a little deeper and you realize a lot of those replies are negative.
Oh, ouch. Suddenly that 40% doesn't look so good.
Right. It's like people are opening the email out of habit or maybe even frustration, not because they're actually excited about what's inside.
So how does sentiment analysis actually work? Are we talking about like mind-reading technology here?
Not quite mind reading, but pretty close. We're talking about some serious algorithms that analyze the words and phrases people use in their email.
So it's looking for keywords, things like that.
Kind of. It's more sophisticated than that. These algorithms can pick up on things like urgency or excitement, even frustration, giving you a much clearer picture of how your audience is really feeling.
That's wild. It's like having an AI assistant who can just read your audience's mind and tell you what they're thinking.
And that's basically what Flowworks is doing with their AI, Alicia.
Yeah, Alicia AI, their AI sales development representative. It's funny, when I first read about this, I thought it was a joke. An AI that understands human emotions in emails. It seemed too good to be true.
It's pretty next level stuff.
Yeah.
Alicia's designed to use all these metrics we've been talking about, the opens, clicks, even the sentiment, and then personalize email campaigns in real time.
Hold on. So instead of sending out these generic emails, you're telling me I could tailor each message to an individual based on their behavior, their preferences?
Yes, that's the idea. It's about making each email resonate on a much deeper, more personal level.
That would be incredible. Imagine personalizing hundreds, even thousands of emails instantly. Just think how much more effective your campaigns would be.
It's pretty amazing stuff. But it also brings up some big questions, like how do we balance this amazing personalization with, respecting people's privacy?
That's a really important point. Just because we can do something doesn't mean we should.
Right, exactly.
But even before we go down that rabbit hole, I think there are some really actionable things our listeners can take away from this conversation.
Totally.
What are your thoughts on how people can use these insights, these metrics, to improve their own email marketing, even without, fancy AI?
I think it starts with getting crystal clear on what success means for you, for your business.
Sure.
What are the positive responses that you really value? Is it a purchase, a demo request, a referral?
It's about defining your goals right from the start.
Exactly. Once you know what you're aiming for, you can start designing emails that encourage that specific action.
It's about being strategic, right? Not just throwing things at the wall and hoping something sticks.
Yes. And that's where those less glamorous metrics, like your opt-out rate, can actually be super helpful.
Oh, interesting. Tell me more.
A high opt-out rate might tell you that you're not attracting the right people or that your message isn't quite right.
It's like a wake-up call.
Right. It's telling you that you need to refine your strategy, maybe adjust your targeting, make sure you're delivering real value to the people who matter most.
It all comes back to understanding your audience, doesn't it?
100%. Every interaction, clicks, replies, even unsubscribes, they all tell a story.
And if we as marketers can learn to listen to those stories,
we can write our own success stories.
Exactly. It's like we're finally moving past those vanity metrics and really getting down to what makes email marketing effective.
It is a big shift, yeah. A shift in how we think about it all.
It's so easy to fixate on those open rates, like it's some kind of popularity contest.
It's tempting, for sure. But at the end of the day, it's the engagement, the sentiment, the connection that really matters. That's what drives those results.
So true. It's about building relationships, not just chasing numbers, right?
Absolutely. And that's what I find so fascinating about this whole conversation. As we move into this age of AI and all this incredible personalization, those ethical considerations, they become more important than ever.
You're right. We've talked about how powerful these tools, like the Alicia AI, can be, how they can help us understand and respond to individual behavior. But where do we draw the line?
It's the big question, isn't it? Just because we can do something doesn't mean we should. How do we use these amazing advancements while also respecting people's privacy, their autonomy as users?
We don't want to make people feel like big brother's watching their every move. It's about finding that balance.
Transparency is going to be huge. Being upfront about how we use data, making sure people have control over their preferences.
It all comes back to trust, right? Like in any good relationship.
Exactly.
And that's something we should all aim for in our marketing,
Yeah.
whether we're using fancy AI or, good old-fashioned human intuition.
Couldn't agree more. At the end of the day, it's about connecting with people in a way that's genuine and respectful. That's how you make a real impact.
This has been such a great conversation. Thanks for sharing your expertise with us today. It's been really eye-opening.
Happy to be here.
And to everyone listening, we hope this deep dive has given you a lot to think about. Remember, it's not just about those opens and clicks. It's about understanding what's behind them, what your audience is really telling you, and using that knowledge to connect with them on a deeper level.
Well said.
Until next time, happy emailing, everyone.